Okay, welcome everybody. Here comes a small example video of payment channels for the Waves platform. I did a small example implementation based on a command line interface. And the idea here is to implement payment channels pretty much in the same way as they're implemented for the Lightning Network for Bitcoin. So the idea is that two participants of the Waves platform, a sender and the recipient, can agree on establishing a payment channel, and then the sender will be able to send funds via this channel to the recipient. And whenever the recipient feels that it's time to actually write those transactions to the blockchain, he can close that channel, resulting in the funds transferred to him via the blockchain. The advantage of this would be that the blockchain would not have to deal with all the transactions that are handled via the payment channel, but that's for the blockchain, it's basically just one transaction at the very end. Although in the meantime, there is a smart contract that ensures that the recipient will actually receive the funds. So what do we need to do this? First, we need to establish a payment channel. I've created the commands here, so I just need to copy them. First is that we establish a payment channel between the sender and the recipient, and then automatically there is the smart contract created. It is associated with an account which actually represents the payment channel. We agreed here on the payment channel being valid for 10 waves, which has to define in wavelets. And so now the payment channel is established. And now the sender can send payments to the recipient. However often he wants. So first he sends 500 wavelets. Let's say afterwards he sends like 1,000 wavelets. And in a third transaction, he may want to send even one complete wave. And let's say those are the transactions that should be done via the payment channel. And then all of a sudden the recipient feels, okay, that's enough. I want to actually close that payment channel and finally get the funds out of this channel. Let's see first. Here we have the account of the recipient. So far, he has 0 waves on his account. That is quite logic because all the transactions that we did so far just appeared on the payment channel and have not been written to the blockchain. But now, when the recipient closes this payment channel, the transaction is broadcasted to the network, and we should shortly be able to see the transaction happening here. Here it is already. So here we see here it's not yet reflected, but in the transactions tab we already see the transfer of the transactions that we did via the payment channel, which was actually 1 waves, 500 wavelets, and 1,000 wavelets. So in sum, it's this amount of waves, and I think now it should also be visible here under the Assets tab. So basically, this concludes the small example that I wanted to show you. There's a lot of research that needs to be done in this respect still, how we can integrate something like that in the client, if it should at all be integrated in the client. Um, I will come up with a couple of questions, probably via Twitter, and I would really appreciate if some of you would take the time to answer those questions. I promise to keep them short, but I would like to get an overview of what the community thinks, how this kind of functionality should be integrated, if it's at all necessary with the bandwidth that we already have at Waves with Waves NG. So please be prepared. There will be a couple of questions that I will post via Twitter. And yes, as I said, I would highly appreciate if you can participate in these polls. Thanks for the attention and be prepared for the next thing to come.